welcome you all for the post-lunch session. For this session, we are with us Engineer Gagandeep Singh, who is the application engineer from Materialize Malaysia. This discussion will be on design workflow in medical. So, like we are working on 3D and 4D part, I think this will be really helpful for medical application. I request Engineer Gagandeep to please start his proceedings.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay. Hi, everyone. Hope you guys are able to see my screen. My name is Gagan, and I'm an application engineer from Materialize Malaysia. Basically, I'm taking care of India market for the medical division. I'll quickly start with a small introduction of our company. So Materialize was established in 1990 by Mr. Freed, who's a founder of and CEO of our company. So it started when Fried saw one of the first 3D printing machine at the Research Institute in Bremen, Germany. He immediately required the huge potential of this technology. Since the Research Institute he was working for at the time was unable to invest in 3D printing, Fried purchased one of the first commercial available 3D printer and started his own company, Materialize. So while exploring the possibility of 3D printing, he immediately focused on application rather than on the machine. Together with his team, he found out that software and the design of the part to be printed were crucial to ensure the good quality for the printed products. Meanwhile, after 30 years building the company to what it is now, Materialize is a global active company with over 1,200 people working across several continents. We all work toward the same mission, that is to use our competencies and 3D technology to create a better and healthier world with a personal touch. So we don't manufacture or sell printers, but we help our customers with services and software tools that allow them to use 3D printing for a specific purpose. And innovation is our focus. Therefore, we continue to spend a significant part of our total revenue on R&D and have several patent spending. Materialize serve different market for industrial, medical, and consumer. Our 3D printing software segment provide a software tool to our customer that allow them to run their 3D printer and additive manufacturing plants. Our software program Magix and Streamix are golden standard in the industry and allow you to get most out of 3D printing plant. Our industrial production segment benefit from manufacturing plants containing more than 130 industrial grade 3D printers to provide prototypes and additive manufactured parts for the industry and consumer market. Our third segment is the medical segment, so which serve the medical device companies, hospital, as well as academia with both software and services. So in the next slide, I'll go through more details regarding that segment. In order to give you a more comprehensive overview, let me explain our field of activity within our medical segment. We supply solution to three customer groups: academia, research, medical device companies, and hospitals. So these are the three customers we have. Like under university, we have almost all in India, almost all the IITs, NITs, and all the government and as well as private colleges. Under medical devices, we have a lot of MDCs, a lot of startup companies who are into 3D printing of medical pre-surgical models, cutting guides, or implants. And under hospitals, we have hospital solution, and we have several customers who are using our hospital solutions. Now coming to the main topic of today's presentation. So the various applications. What are the various applications of 3D printing in medical? So first, and the basic application is a medical model, or you can say pre-surgical model, which helps to reduce the duration of the actual surgical procedure, and it will also give you the better efficiency as well as the accuracy. The second part is the surgical guides. Surgical guides help custom clinical procedure. Surgical guide help you to, like if I take an example of a resectioning case of a tumor. So with the help of cutting guide, you can save a lot of time as well as the money on that. Then the third part is designed for 3D printing, which my colleague Vivek had already explained yesterday in his presentation. So it will help you to faster time to market, reduce a number of parts, reduce the weight, improve reliability, improve performance. Now the fourth one is the porous metal implants. So conventionally, what we generally use is the metal implants of titanium or stainless steel, right? But now there are a lot of research going on the porous metal implants. So how it helps? It helps the mechanical property, increase the mechanical properties, which is close to human bone with a sufficient implant strength and stability. So it gives more stability, as well as it will also help to ingrowth of bone, and also ensuring the implant will remain in the same place. And the last one is the patient-specific orthotics. So compared to the conventional POP or POP model, so these orthotics are more reliable, and it's highly customized. The weight, reduce the weight, and it also improves the performance. So this is the typical workflow of a medical 3D printing. The process generally known as reverse engineering in the engineering world. Start with acquiring the CT images or MRI images in the 2D form, in the form of stack of images, which is in a DICOM format. So the DICOM data is then processed using the software like Mimics, which is a materialized software, to create a 3D model of the anatomy. The 3D model file of then imported into a design software like 3D, which is also from Materialize, to create the final implant design. And once you have your region of interest, as you can see in the 3D STL, so this is the region of interest. So once you have your region of interest, you can export the STL file for any 3D printing process. And once the 3D printing is done, you can also what I'm trying to show here in the final image, you can also resect the image, resectioning as per the customer requirement or as per the surgeon requirement. So this is the typical workflow for any 3D printing in a medical. Yeah. So first, what I've mentioned was imaging, like acquiring the imaging. The first step, which might also often overlook in image acquisition, it is very important to note that the input is as crucial as the output. So the accuracy of your final model is dependent upon your CT scan. It's best to have a protocol for each modality and each anatomy to endure and avoid risk with the artifacts. So you must have seen, like in CBCT, if a patient already have some implant, or if the patient already have a braces, and when a radiologist take a scan of that patient, then that scan comes with a lot of artifacts, right? But if you are taking the scan with a suitable protocol, then we can reduce those scans, and we can reduce those artifacts in that scan. With that, it will automatically improve the output, the DICOM file a DICOM file, and ultimately it will also improve the 3D printing. So when you're choosing a stack of images to import into Mimics, keep in mind that the quality of the image will directly impact the quality of resulting part, as I mentioned. In addition to artifact in the image, the resolution of the image stack will play an important role in the eventually quality of the part generated for the image. Each image in the stack will compose of the pixels, okay, and with certain dimension X and Y, and a pixel value. So each image has a certain dimension and a pixel value. And each image in the stack will have a slice thickness. Slice thickness is nothing the thickness of a tissue that was examined when collecting the pixel value of a single image. And also last part is the slice spacing, which is nothing but the distance between two consecutive image slices. For an image slice, each pixel will have a thickness and equal to slice spacing parameter, which is called voxel. So these are some parameters like which will help you to get the good 3D printed model. Now the second step is the step which converts your slices of image into 3D model is called segmentation. Okay, where we are able to assign a value to your anatomy and use that as an input to create a 3D model. So hence it's very important to have a software that is robust and able to handle different type of anatomy and is also medically certified if it wasn't be used for a clinical case. Yeah. So if a software which you are using for the segmentation, so it should be certified, right? So there are some certification. There are certification required for any medical software like FDA approved or CE certification. So those certifications also are very helpful. Then images are imported directly into the software and guided segmentation is performed. And an accurate representation of the anatomy is created through the segmentation, which will use as an input of a 3D model. Now, this is the third step where after the segmentation, the 3D model is created. So what is the best practice of that? You can check the accuracy of the 3D model. How we can do that? By using Mimic software. There is an option. Here to overlay the contours of the 3D model into the CT scan. So if your 3D model is in a space, you can also overlay the contours of that 3D model into the CT images, which help you to verify the dimension of a 3D model, which ultimately will give you an accurate model. Okay, this is the fourth step, and it's sometimes it's an optional thing for a 3D model. So segmenting the scan anatomy is not sufficient oftentimes. Edit to the model need to be done. For example, in this case, this is actually a DORB case. So to visualize the VSD hollowed and cut open. So what we did, maybe the surgeon want to see the internal parts, right? And when you 3D print the model, it's a watertight model and it's a solid model. So surgeon can't see internal. So what you can do is you can create a hollow model. You can cut open the vessels and create the smooth part, which helps surgeon to if they are planning to place a stent model or they're planning to place a device. So these type of models which are hollowed and which can be cut as per the requirement, which will help them to do the virtual surgery. This is the last step where you can prepare your file for the printing. Yeah. So what are the best practice for that? You can label for traceability. Now, if you have a design house if you have a 3D printing house, right, and you have like 100 of cases, so how you can trace all those things? So what you can do is you can label the model. You can label as per the patient ID or the number of cases. This is how you can trace your model. And then there's an important factor, which is fixing. So before going for 3D printing, there are a lot of error in the STL files. Those errors are like overlapping triangles, or it can be various shells, internal shells, or intersecting triangle, which ultimately affect the quality of your 3D print model. right? So make sure to fix the model before going for the printing. And the last part is the support structure. We Materialize also provide the software called Magic software, which help you to create the support structure. And the support structure should be in a way so that it will not reduce the quality of the final part. So these are the typical workflow and what are the best practices to prepare your file from your CT scan to a final model. Now, next slide is to how to optimize this workflow. So start designing with, the first step is to start designing with the end in mind. If the end goal is to design a personalized device that is accurately follow the contours of the anatomy, it makes sense to take the contours of the anatomy, example segmentation, as the baseline, and to start the design process directly to 3D STL file. So as I mentioned, you can also overlay the contours of a 3D model onto the CT scan, right? So if the design concept you are working on is an implant, an additional advantage of using 3D printing in combination with dedicated software like 3Matic Medical is that porous structure can be designed right onto the implant. This is a way there is no need for additional chemical or other unpredictable treatment process to obtain a porous surfaces. So as you can see in the video, so this is a porous structure. This is actually a Voronoi kind of porous structure where you can also play with the porosity of the final product. You can also assign the variable porosity. As you can see, there are some areas which is very fine, and there are some areas which are very dense porous structure. So you can assign the various or variable porosity, and then then as you can see on the right side, the porous cranial implants. So these implants, you can assign the porosity to reduce the weight, because these are the implants which are known force or known pressure or known load bearing implants, where there is no direct load acting on these implants. So like the lattice structure or lightweight structure can also be used to create a lightweight implants. And then you can see the acetabular cup. So these cups, as I already mentioned, these cups you can assign the porosity, and it will help you to help the bone to regrow internally. And this also help you to design a lightweight structure. Now, second step is to automate as much of your workflow as possible. So through scripting design process steps. So when designing a personalized device, it might seem counterintuitive to automate a large part of that workflow. After all, the device is unique to each patient, right? So, well, it turns out that usually the major characteristics of the design are similar between the patient, or at least similar enough to be able to automatically or semi-automatically generate the personal device. So what I'm trying to say here is, like, you can automate the steps of designing a customized implant or designing a cutting guide as much as possible, because there are several steps which are similar in a standard implant or in a personalized implant. So you can automate those steps by using the Python script or by using the scripting module. Yes. So the next point is use the latest and most powerful tool. Then 3Matic Medical 15 contains several new and improved tools that can help you to make your design process as fast, as easy, and then get proper training. So what we suggest generally when you are working on these type of software, segmentation software or any designing software, before using the software, you should take the training from a technical person of that who are expert in that software, which will ultimately help you to reduce the time of designing and also help you to set your workflow. And the last point is avoid design iteration. So how you can do that? So you can avoid the design iteration by involving surgeon in the critical decision points in your design process. Think of the design decision that might have an impact on the surgical procedure, the patient outcome, or that simply depend on the surgeon's preferences. So you can use a viewer kind of thing. So there's a tool called Mimics Viewer. You can make those models available for surgeon to review at their convenience in an intuitive way and on their preferred type of device. So what you can do, basically, what designer can do, they can design the implant in-house, and they can, using the Mimics Viewer, they can send that to the surgeons, and the surgeon will review that model, and if they have any concern, they can tell that. So this will help to reduce the design iteration. Ultimately, good collaboration between an engineer and surgeon is essential to get from an image to well-performing device in time for surgery. So these are the workflow. These are the steps to optimize your workflow. Now, so our software has been used for a variety of applications, as I mentioned. The majority of which is used in biomedical engineering department, medical school, and natural sciences department. Yeah. One of the main application of our software is in computational biomechanics field. So computational biomechanical can be a further suborder to mechanics of heart tissue, which is your bone mechanics, orthopedic, cardiovascular, and craniomaxillofacial. So now from the next slide, I will show you some of the case studies where the customers had used Mimic software, other materialized software to do the research. So first study, this study introduced a new approach for computing lower extremities muscles forces by incorporating equations that consider bone structure and prevention of bending by load reduction into the existing optimization algorithm. Lower extremities, muscles, and joint forces during normal gait were calculated and compared using two different optimization approaches. And in this case study, how Mimics has been used. Mimics has been used to create a subject-specific anatomical model of the lower extremities, which is obtained from MRI scans of a healthy male and was used for simulation. And then finite element analysis was used to calculate the femoral load. So this is the method they use. You can see this yellow bone and this white bone. These are extracted from the MRI scans and using Mimics software. Now this is actually the non-conventional or latest trend of doing that. So what's the conventional? The conventional method of calculating the muscle's force lead to higher rates of femoral bending and structural stress than the new approach. Adding equation with structural subject a specific parameter in our new approach resulted in reduced femoral stress pattern. So, and what was the result? So, these finding of this study show that the new approach improves the accuracy of femoral stress and strain simulation. Structural overload was caused by the bending can be avoided during inverse calculation of muscle force. Yeah. So in this study, this is a musculoskeletal model should be able to integrate patient-specific architecture and undergo through validation prior to their introduction into clinical parameter. This study presents a methodology to develop subject-specific models able to simultaneously predict muscles, ligament, and knee joint, and so which contact forces along with the secondary knee kinematics. So movement and loads of musculoskeletal system are governed by the complex interaction between the forces of muscles, ligament, bones, and a variety of other soft tissues. And the surrounding environment, which is your muscles, ligament, and joint, contact forces acting within a body. And however, it's very difficult to measure in vivo since invasive procedure would be required. Yeah. So in this case, what exactly they did, how they use this mimic software, they use mimic software to scale the generic model to subject specific bone geometry. What we did, like we segmented the subjects pre-operative bone CT scan images in mimics, and 3D bone geometries were exported into STL format. And what was the result? The proposed modeling approach allowed detailed subject-specific scaling and personalization and does not contain any physiological parameter. This modeling framework has potential application in aiding the clinical decision making in orthopedic procedure and a tool for virtual implant design. This is actually a very interesting case study. So in June 2015, there was a news of a medical first when a sea turtle received a 3D printed beak implant after collision with a propeller. So after being severely hit by a boat propeller, a 45 kg sea turtle lost 2/3 of its upper and lower jaw consequently, as you can see in this image. So this is basically a CT images of the sea turtle. Because of this, he was not able to eat or swim on its own. So University PAU in Turkey, they started to look for a such bureau, and they printed a custom jaw implant. So this was the first time where they designed something and printed something for an animal. How mimics use? So materialized mimics has been used to design the implant, which could create exact replica of the beak and the adjoining region that had broken off. Creating this reproduction presented quite a challenge, as the anatomy and tissue of the turtle are quite different from those of human. But once it was approved by the surgeon, so they designed something, they designed the implant. What they did, they basically take the mirror of the left side and pasted in the right side, and according to the landmarks, they designed the implant. And once they designed the implant, they show it to the surgeon. And once the surgeon approved, the implant was manufactured from medical grade titanium, and then the surgery was done. What was the result? Ultimately, the beak was successfully fitted onto the turtle with multiple screws, as you can see here, this image implant. Yeah. So next study is this is basically from India only. The aim of the study is to the aim of the study was to predict the porosity of the bone scaffold model with a unit cell design of U-bend curve with a square pyramid. So they have designed something like a unit cell, and they wanted to predict the porosity of the bone scaffold, and they wanted to check how much is the porosity of the scaffold they can achieve with a specific unit cell. So how the mimics can use? The mimics, the patient CT scan data of the femur bone in DICOM format is exported into mimic software, 2D scan data, and then they convert it into 3D model. They had taken only the, as you can see in the second image, they had taken only the 4 layers. They haven't taken like the full femur bone. They just took the 4 layers of the bone, and then they selected those 4 layers, and they designed the customized femur bone scaffold using those 4 bones. So in thematic software, pattern were developed by using the unit cell. Then 4 layers of bone and pattern were imported into thematic to create a customized bone scaffold, as you can see here in the image, last one. So what was the result? So it was found that the customized femur bone scaffold for the unit cell design of U-bend curve with a square primitive of port size, they had taken the port size of 0.8 mm and they have taken the interdistance 0.7, gives the higher porosity. So they had tried with different diameters, pore diameters, and the result was with a 0.8 diameter of pore size and interdistance 0.7 mm gives the higher porosity, which was 56.58 compared to the other scaffold. So the model were then fabricated using the 3D printing techniques. Okay, yeah. So this is basically a study of AAA model. So in this, the flow is turbulent. In basically in AAA aortic abdominal aneurysm, the flow is turbulent, and this can create increased wall shear stress. This can in turn lead to a high risk of rupture, which is almost always a fatal. When an AAA is diagnosed, the decision to treat is commonly based on the measurement of the diameter. Uh, this university has developed a method to calculate a patient-specific risk of evaluation of wall shear stresses. So this was the aim of this study, and how they have used the Mimics software. Materialize Mimics has been used to easily create a patient-specific 3D model from medical image for further computational fluid dynamic analysis. So they have done CFD analysis. So what they did, they had a CT scan image of AAA model and this aneurysm model, and they had converted that CT into 3D model, which I have explained the whole method. And then they have prepared the file using Mimics software only, prepared for CFD analysis, for blood flow analysis, like the material assignment as well as the meshing. They had created in Mimics, and then they exported directly from Mimics to CFD. Now, what was the result? So in this way, the wall shear stresses can be calculated before and after the intervention, and evaluate the difference in the rupture risk. In this picture, you can see the result of the post-intervention result at different stages in the cardiac cycle. Okay, so this study was accuracy of to find out the accuracy of vessel positioning measurement. So basically, endografting is becoming more common treating aneurysm these days. This is also used for location where arteries originate. Right? Therefore, physician modified endograft are currently created by using measurement from CT images. Complications occur when that are not exactly matching the vessel position. Therefore, they have developed a method for making this process more accurately. So what they did, they 3D construct of the lumen of the vessel and has been created together with the surrounding model using Mimics software. And what was the result? Location of vessel orifice can be accurately assessed using the 3D printed model of the aorta. The surrounding model was 3D printed and contained hole at the location of vessel orifice, allowing the endograft to be deployed inside like in the real vessel. So as you can see here, so this is actually a 3D printed model. Yeah. So this case study, this is actually on 3D airway analysis on anatomical landmarks. So assessment of anatomical construction in subject with SPD, which is sleeping disorder breathing. 3D superimposition in images, which is before and after, provides anatomical and functional treatment outcomes. The problem with this superimposition method is the variation in patient's head position at different image. So, at the time of acquisition. So a stable reference for soft tissue structure superimposition is required for adequate registration of CBCT images. So what was the purpose? The purpose to investigate the reliability of craniofacial landmark to superimpose upper airways using CBCT, and then to control if plane reorientation based on these landmark influence their reliability in a single CBCT. So how they use mix software here? So what they did, CBCT images from patient with a normal upper airways and landmarks were marked using mimic software. And upper airways segmentation and landmark positioning were performed using mimic software. So mimics furthermore used to segment the upper airways in images, and images sets were registered. So then volume and total surface area were measured using thematic software. Also, point-based analysis using thematic has been performed. And what was the result? Reliable landmark for new coordinate transformation have been formed. Yeah, this is also a very interesting case study. University of Queensland in Australia, Dr. Olga has been researching the effect of feeding on the mechanism of the jaw. The ultimate goal of her research is to determine the relationship between the form and the function of mandible, and thereby improve the accuracy of anatomical model and jaw implant. So, using the CT, the researcher captured the skeleton geometry of the monkey's head and segmented the CT dataset in materialized memory. To do that, they separated the mandible from the cranium and extracted the 3D surface dataset of the cortical bone, and the trabecular tissue and the teeth and the ligament. After regrouping the parts in thematic thematic software to create a non-manifold file, they assemble them into single entity and multiple intersecting parts. So as you can see here, so this is basically an assembly. So they had segmented different parts and then assembled in the software. Then the assembly part then were converted into volumetric mesh of solid with tetrahedral element, and the team managed to assign 80 heterogeneous and material properties to the bone. Okay, so what exactly they did, they segmented the different parts, they assemble it in the software, and then they also assign, then they created a volume mesh, and then they assigned the more than 80 heterogeneous material. So heterogeneous material is nothing, it's actually depend upon your bone density. So according to the bone density, according to the CT images or Hounsfield unit, you can assign the material. And then the file was exported, the final model was exported to the Abacus software. Okay, and this case study is for the natural science. Due to a gap in the fossil record, little is known about how these dinosaurs have developed their features, such as their gigantic size, unusual brain, ears who are adapted to low frequency sound, and then their skull. There are hundreds of specimens of large. There are hundreds of specimens of large specimen of blood, and a growing record of a smaller and more primitive middle Jurassic. So there are hundred of CT scans, micro cities were available of these skulls. So how they use Mimic software, basically Mimics has been created used to import these Microsoft images, these micro images into the 3D model, into the Mimic software, and then they've created the 3D model. So what was the result? Using 3D model reconstruction, missed part from fossil can be replicated, hence more findings are discovered regarding the brain sensory features and related the success of the last surviving species. So the second main application of our software is in a medical field, which can be classified into clinical and non-clinical. Categories of medical school include orthopedic and cardiovascular and CMF. Okay, in this case situation, what was the aim of this study? The situation was to achieve a good functional result after THR, which is total hip replacement, and accurate restoration of hip biomechanics with the appropriate implant and sizing option is essential. So in this, the professor from University Hospital Brazil wanted to know whether two different implant systems would be able to restore hip biomechanics, like both anatomic and 5 mm rotation centers in 30 patients initially and ultimately 100 patients. So what was the problem statement here? To this end, they had already segmented and landmarked all of the femurs and implants, but were running into the problem that it was very time consuming for them to try and identify the appropriate size, then place it into the femur and then perform their desired measurement. So how Mimics helped them? At the point they found out about the new scripting module, which I've already explained. In Mimics, with that some help of the scripting part from us, what they did basically, so they had created a script. With the help of that script, they had merged all the 30 data sets and they calculated the common landmark. They placed the common landmark and then they calculated they had taken all the measurements, like for the femur they would require the neck angle, the length of the femur neck and the full length of the femur, and then the head size. Like those type of measurements, they superimpose all 30 data sets using the scripting module, place the landmark, and then did the measurement. So what was the result? This allowed them to answer their research question about which implant would be best be able to restore the native biomechanics of the hip. It is currently being expanded to include 50 femurs and 4 different implant systems. So now they are using other implants also, other hip stems also, and now they are doing this. Initially they had taken 30 data sets. Now they have moved to 50 as well as 100 data sets. Okay, and this is basically this is on orthopedic, and this research is from KU Leuven. What was the situation here? In similar here also in THR, most traditional design of femur component have a long stem, as you can see this one. Short hip stem have recently been introduced, and these are presumed to reduce the proximal stress shielding compared to the traditional one. But there are some doubts about their performance in femur with a typical bone geometry. So they had a long hip stem, and they recently introduced the small one, but they are very skeptical about the stress shielding. So what was the challenge, or what was the dream of the researchers? So researchers from the KU Leuven University and the Brussels University wanted to better understand this aspect by virtually implanting a commercial available software like any FEA software. They wanted to do a FEA analysis onto that after doing the virtual surgery. So what they did, they use Mimics software, where they have created the mesh. As you can see, they have created the mesh and did the assembly of hip stem along with the femur, and then they have imported into the Abaqus software where they checked the stress shielding. So what was the result? They were able to answer their research question about which part of the femur would have the most stress shielding in a large data set than they originally planned, so yielding more power to their study. Okay, and this hospital, HSS, the Hospital for Special Surgery, is the oldest existing orthopedic hospital in the US. Designs its own patient-specific implant for the treatment of complex cases. HSS engineers closely collaborate with the surgeons on implant design, instruments, and the surgical procedure. So 75% of the hospital's image is based on the conventional radiology. The complex procedures are planned in 3D on a CT scan, but the vast majority of their post-operative data consists of conventional 2D X-ray as a post-operative CT scan are not common given the cost and radiation exposure. So what was the challenge here? So that of course complicates communication between surgeon and engineer, because now they are not using the CT scan. They are using the X-ray here. So moreover, the hospital wanted to better quantify the outcome of the implant placement. How can you know the implant was inserted where the team of surgeon and engineer had planned to put it? The only feedback they had was surgeons saying that the procedure went well. So how our software helped there? Then they heard about our X-ray challenge to try out our X-ray module. So we have this X-ray module. So as I mentioned earlier about the CT scan, we can work on the CT scan. So for the research purpose, yes, you can also import the X-ray images. So so they did the same thing. So what they did, so this module, the X-ray module, helped HSS to optimize their post-operative workflow by allowing them to import 2D radiograph and register them on the CT model. That way, they could calculate the difference between the original 3D plan of the procedure and the actual implant position. So this ultimately, what was the result? Now, with the ability of combined pre-operative CT scan and post-operative X-ray, they can quantify how their implant are positioned more accurately. So this is actually not in US or not in any part of the world, but in India also, surgeons generally prefer to do X-ray post-operatively rather than going for the CT scan. So using the X-ray module, you can superimpose both CT scan, pre-operative CT scan as well post-operative X-ray, which will help to check whether the surgery went according to the plan or not, or the implant is placed as per the plan or not. Okay, so the study, the aim of this study, the primary aim of this research is to enable the just-in-time customization of additive manufacturing processes, whereby AM implant design and manufacture be completed within the time constraint of a single surgical procedure, and while minimizing the prosthesis mass and optimizing the lattice structure to match the stiffness of the surrounding wall. So in this study, a design approach using raw CT scan and apply it to AM manufacturing, AM manufacture for prosthesis manufacturing. So case study has been performed on a 71-year-old man. So the proposed DICOM to lattice structure method convert 2D DICOM slices into periodic lattice structure without the need for 3D construction. The proposed method avoid manual intervention, data conditioning and smoothing operation, and the result in the rapid generation of high conformal lattice structure with a high geometrical accuracy. So what was the result? The mass of the prosthesis was successfully reduced by 68% while satisfying the associated structural requirement. Then the comprehensive testing of lattice structure manufactured using proposed method shows that the load carrying capacity of the resected composite bone can be recovered by up to 85%, and the compressive stiffness of the AM prosthesis is statistically increased from stiffness of the initial bone. So basically, they had used the lattice structure, which helped them to reduce the reduce the weight of the final implant, and which helped to increase the stiffness by 85%. Okay, so this study evaluated difference in 3D scapula-humerus relationship for known pathological shoulder and shoulder with primary osteoarthritis. This may lead to better understanding of the relationship in primary osteoarthritis and to evaluate the implication for the treatment with TSA. So how they use CT scan of both pathological and non-pathological shoulder were imported into Mimics, and then they reconstruct the model, and the analysis of the 3D construction was performed, measuring the interior, posterior, inferior, superior, and medial and lateral position of the human. The result of this is using Mimics software and using thematic software and using this type of analysis, you can calculate or determine the relation between the humerus and scapula very easily. Okay. So in this case study, what was the situation or the aim of this study? Dental restoration is a common procedure used to restore the damaged teeth or to prevent the decayed teeth from further further damage. The end goal is to restore the function, integrity, and morphology of the missing tooth structure. After a certain amount of cycle in a restored tooth, high level of stress is located at the tooth interface are likely to fracture either the tooth or the restoration material, thus leading the crack which may grow and propagate. So what was the challenge? So this is also a case of stress shielding. So what was the challenge? They want to, the surgeon want to check the best possible patient outcomes. Numerical simulations such as finite element analysis have proven to be an interesting tool to create in a fast and efficient way multiple models, allowing to compare the performance of these different restoration materials, such as the fatigue lifetime before crack failure, allowing to gain insight the performance of different material in a variety of patients. So how Mimics help? So the 3D model of the jawbone and the trabecular structure have been created by Mimics, and they have used the same methodology. What I have explained earlier, they used the CT scan images and created into 3D model. Then this implant was designed using thematic, and they and also have created the mesh, like the volume mesh and surface mesh, and assigned the material, and then exported to ANSYS software. So what was the result? The result was accurate device and bone geometry as a computational model has enabled them to achieve the accurate results. Yes. So these were some of the case studies of our customer who are using the software, and what are the various applications software can be used for a scaffold design using the lattice structure, or it can be used to create a file or prepare a file for CFD analysis or FA analysis, or it can be used to design customized implants or cutting guides or jigs. So next is my last slide, where I want to show what are the latest trends or what are the new things we had introduced. So this is, as I mentioned, this is my last slide, and here I would like to show you our recent update of our Mimics viewer, where we incorporated the virtual reality tool. So Mimics viewer, as I have already explained earlier, Mimics viewer allow you to complement your 3D printing activities with an easy to use and accessible VR mode, and even enable better remote collaboration between engineer and clinician. So engineer is, if suppose engineer is designing something in the design house, and they don't need to go to the surgeon again and again. So what they can use Mimics viewer. They can just create a link of that file and send it to the surgeon. Where surgeon can review the file, add the comments, and approve the 3D model or approve the implant design. So this will also reduce the design iteration, as I explained in my earlier slides. So along with this, we recently introduced, in Mimics viewer only, we recently introduced a tool called Virtual TLIT. So now you can get a quick feedback on VR model before deciding to 3D print your model. and you can collaborate remotely in the cloud-based environment with no software installation needed. So I'll quickly play this video. So as shown in this part, so not only the 3D printing or not only the 3D model or 3D modeling or 3D printing, now the surgeon can also do a virtual implantation. So as you can see this yellow stent here in this heart model. So surgeon can check, can do the virtual surgery before 3D print the model or before going for the surgery. And accordingly they can plan the whole surgery. Okay, and yeah. So this is from my end. In case if you have any question, maybe you can ask. You know, if anyone have any question regarding the software or regarding any slide, any application.
Yeah, dear participants, the panel is open for discussion. If you want any query, we can raise from the server.
Good evening, sir.
Hi.
Sir, if there is a polymer composite I'm going to 3D print, and whether I can just visualize that whether the composition is going to be contracting or expanding with the flow of some electronic field or magnetic field with the help of these tools?
That actually a 3D printing part. So what you can do in that, there are different software, which is Magix. So you can use Magix software to see whether the final part. So it's basically a 3D printing analysis, right? Whether the part will contract or it will expand, it will shrink or expand. So it comes under the 3D printing analysis. So what you can do, maybe you can use our Magix software, and not the Mimix, but the Magix software is also a part of Materialize to do that analysis. So that will give you the result of whether the part will shrink or expand and how it will act after the 3D printing.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other query, please? Anybody from the audience want to raise some query? Okay, Gaganji, I have one question.
Yes,
from the beginner point of view, it may be a biomedical application or some typical mechanical engineering application. We are interested in, let us say, developing a CAD, right? So suppose I have some CAD data, maybe CT scan like CBCT we have used, and we got some CAD file. Based on that CAD data, we can convert it into some STL file. That is our standard practice. And
yes,
then doing some sort of a optimization in STL file is also very common. Now my question is, suppose I got some data for some patient. Let us say there is some patient with the maybe veterinary patient or human, like because of some accident, there is a loss of, let us say, some body part, and I'm trying to develop the part as a implant or as a prosthesis or as a scaffold. So what actually we are doing right now is we are taking that STL file based on some scan, and then we are using the Mimic software, to actually finally get the STL file. Now, but additional benefit I am going to get with the Magic software once I am doing this, because I can create a STL file using a Mimic only, right? So,
Yes,
what
sir.
additional benefit with the Magic I am getting?
Okay, so there are two factors here. First is the implant designing, correct? So I can, yeah. So this is actually the same case where the CEOs they designed the implant using the Mimic software and Mimic software, and the designing part, there are two factors as I mentioned. So first is the designing part and the scaffold designing. So what you can do using Mimic software is you have a scan data, you convert it into 3D model using Mimic software and then design the customized implant. And how you can do that? You can like mirror the left side to right side, and accordingly you will get the contours and you design the implant. After that, if you want to create a scaffold there, like if you want to give some porosity to that implant or create a lightweight structure, you can also assign the lattice structure. So this whole process will be done in the Mimic software and Thematic software. Okay. So once you have that, now the next part is 3D printing, correct? So once you have the STL file, for 3D printing, you need a Magic software. So how Magic software will work? Magic software help you to fix the files, which can be done in Thematic also, but in Magic also you can do the fixing. Then additionally, you can create a support structure, which is not possible in Mimics. So that is in Magic only. So support structure for 3D printing. So, and also you can optimize your 3D print, not the design, but the 3D print using Magics. So basically, two software, one is Mimics, which help you to design the implant, create the lattice structure, and optimize the design. Okay. Second software is Magic software, which help you to optimize your 3D print by creating a support structure.
Okay, sir. Like, sorry. In continuation to your this answer, like we are working on DMLS, that is the metal printer. So
Yes, sir.
all these features are in the machine software also. Like for the metal printing, we need a sport, right? So that sport structure, where to put a sport, what should be the dimensions, where at how much far distance we have to put the sport, that is also available. So what additional this Magic will be giving to this?
Sir, you will get more parameters here. You have more in any 3D printing software. The main purpose is to create the STL file, is to convert the STL file into G, like that is slicing, right? And it will create the support structure by default by using the default parameters. But using Magic software, you can play around with all the parameters. So you can also change the thickness of the support material. So basically, you are not only generating the support material here in Magic, but you are optimizing that bit. So how to reduce the support structure and where to put the support structure. So for an example, you can't put support structure here, right? Because when you remove the support structure, the dimension of the hole will change, correct? So these type of things you can only do using Magic software or not by using the software which comes with the 3D printer, because that will not give you that much of freedom to select the parameters. So in short, in Magic software, there are a lot of parameters you will get to optimize your bed.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, that's great. So any other query from the participant side? Anybody want to ask any question, please? You are welcome. Okay. Okay, there is one more query, Gagan.
Yes, sir.
Can you help us in generating some profiles, typical profiles, like you are showing some of the screws or bolts? What we observed, once we are printing with a metal printer, there is a problem of generating some particular profile. Like the profile on the thread is there, but if we do this in metal printing, we got a lot of challenges, the dimensional accuracy, the pitch. This is really a challenge in metal printer. In polymer, we
Yes.
don't have this issue.
Yes, sir.
Can this software help us in doing something better with this?
Yes, sir. So here, Magic software comes into the play because, as I mentioned, so you don't need to put the support structure there near to that hole where because why this error is not there in the polymer and it's here in the metal printer, because in metal printer both the support structure as well as the main part, the material is same, correct? So when you remove it by machining, it will also change the dimension of the hole or dimension of the screws or threads or pitch, right? So using the Magic software, you can create the support structure accordingly so that it will not change any profile of the thread. So you don't need to put the support structure near to those holes. So that you can do using the Magic software.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Gagan, for this discussion. I think this is really useful for all of us. And we are from the Little Chandigarh side and Mechanical Engineering Department side. I am really thankful to you for delivering this elaborative talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Hulmita Chandigarh and to you, sir, and to Pabla, sir, for giving us this opportunity to share our thoughts and present our solution. And then AICT and also Mr. Vikas Shai from Design Tech. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Okay. Thanks, Gagan. So, dear participants, here we close the day. Tomorrow morning we will meet as scheduled at 10 a.m. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kamal, for the media support. Thank you. Thanks, one and all.